A divisive socio-political chasm. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Has been subject to diverse interpretations. One side argues that it guarantees an individual's right to own firearms for self-defense and other lawful purposes. The other side believes it refers to the collective right of state militias and doesn't prevent reasonable regulation of firearms. The issue of gun violence and gun control in the United States is deeply entrenched in political and social divisions. These divisions arise from differing perspectives on interpreting the same Second Amendment, which guarantees the right to bear arms. The Republicans, generally aligning more with the gun rights perspective, often prioritize personal safety, believing that law-abiding citizens should have the right to defend themselves and their families with firearms. And Democrats are advocating for gun control measures. On the other hand, advocates for stricter gun control. They argue that public safety should take precedence, and measures must be in place to prevent firearm access to potentially dangerous individuals. Various interest groups, such as the National Rifle Association, NRA, and gun control advocacy organizations, wield significant influence over politicians and public opinion. Their lobbying efforts and campaign contributions further exacerbate this issue's political and social divide. Gun ownership can be driven by concerns about personal safety and the belief that firearms provide a means of protection. On the other hand, gun control advocates often emphasize the need for public safety and reducing the potential for firearm-related incidents. For instance, the statistics on gun violence can be publicly accessed. In contrast, there are no records for intended or abandoned gun violence, apparently, due to the unpredictability of the would-be victim's response. For a simple fact that they might have a firearm even more superior. School and public spaces mass shootings have intensified the debate on gun control. These tragic events spark calls for stricter measures to prevent such incidents in the future. At the same time, gun rights advocates argue that focusing on mental health and enforcing existing laws is better. Public opinion polls may indicate varying degrees of support for gun control measures, but turning that public sentiment into concrete policy changes can be challenging due to the influence of interest groups and differing priorities of politicians. Gun violence and its control is still a divisive socio-political chasm. We call for honesty of purpose in addressing this scourge. Drop the gun is an anti-trigger mission. We do not need the infighting and name-callings. Let's be more virtuous because our ego will only hurt us. When we evaluate the causes of the triggers, we may find out that none of us is exempted. Drop the gun is about feeling less entitled. And once we do, we will let things slide sometimes and become more tolerant, forgiving and loving. Whoever truly loves would seek or offer help and will never take a life. God bless America. From Subtle Salt Foundation. www.subtlesalt.com